What's holding you down, you can't really put it back up now. You have to really unlearn your habits here. Too much of anything is dangerous, right? As we say, I go straight to sleep. To be honest, I be going straight to sleep sometimes. And that kind of motivated me to stay away from that. You have to take accountability for that, to the point that it even affects others. Hey y'all, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are. We are back for Flow Forward Approach, and this time it's the lesson number 8. Yeah, lesson number 8. Now, when it comes to this flow forward approach, let's just say this is all in terms of growth. We all want to grow, right? We all want to change our lives. We all want to change a way that we even are, right? We all want to change something when it comes to doing something or being somewhere, when it comes to meeting somebody, when it comes to being in a new establishment. Yeah, we want to change, right? And that calls for growth. That calls for changing something. That calls for leaving things behind. That calls for doing a new routine. That calls for learning new things. And when it comes to that point, when it comes to changing and growing, of course, that means shedding skin. That means shedding what does not belong. That means leaving behind what does not belong. That means leaving behind what's not supposed to come with you into this next chapter of yours. What's not supposed to come with you into this new life of yours. And you have to understand that you cannot bring baggage into a new chapter. You cannot bring baggage into a new version of you. You cannot bring what was once holding you back, what was once holding you down, into where you want to go. What's holding you down, you can't really put it back up now. You can't really put it up. If it's holding you down and it's too heavy for you, you can't put it up, and you want to change, you gotta leave it. You gotta leave it and go. If you're wanting to go, you gotta leave what's heavy. You gotta leave behind what's heavy. And this is in terms of people, places, things, and habits. Whatever and whoever is holding you back, that are still involved in the bad habits that you would love to no longer be in, whether this is drinking, smoking, partying, overindulging in activities, because too much of anything is too much of anything is dangerous, right? As we say. So whatever and whoever is holding you back, that are still involved in the things that you're trying to get away from, it is to be removed. Quite frankly, it's to be removed. There shouldn't be any string alongs. You can't say, yeah, well, I'm gonna leave this person behind, and then when they hit you up next time, you're like, ooh, I'm gonna text them. Because that's like stringing this person along, even if you were to cut them off and they came back 3 months later. That's not really you letting go of a bad habit, a bad person. That's not really pouring into you the way that you should be poured into, to elevate, to go somewhere else, to be in a new environment. All the burdens, even when it comes to the mind, all the things that you once knew, those things too are part of the affairs that you need to let go and leave behind. It's like going into a new job and thinking you're not really gonna be able to have the skills that you need, and you'd have to let go of that kind of mindset to get into the habit of garnering those skills and being used to those skills. And for you to really get that out of your mind, you have to be like, okay, no, I can do this. Okay, no, I'm actually good at what I do. No, wait, this is actually pretty easy. No, wait, matter of fact, I'm gonna let behind what I thought was good for me and do this instead. It's that type of energy that you really have to carry when it comes to growing out of old habits. To be honest, you really have to release what does not fit and what makes you uncomfortable. Now, we had talked about being comfortable in the uncomfortable places, and when you're not able to release what's making you uncomfortable, well, you have to get used to the uncomfortability. To really get your way out of that uncomfortable space, you'd have to reprogram your mind for that until you get out of that uncomfortable space. And before you know it, you'll be able to get out of that space that you're in. Some few tips that I can give you to get out of, unlearning bad habits, it would be to do new things, think differently, think positively. In the way that you would used to think in a negative way, you would think the opposite way. And when it comes to doing new things, you could color, you could run, you could write, you could speak, you could sing, you could pick up new hobbies. Quite frankly, there's a lot of things you could do to really get out of a bad habit. When it comes to me, to be honest, I'm a Mary Jane smoker. I'm not gonna say that it's a bad habit, because I can definitely take my breaks. It definitely came to a point where I was like, okay, I need to stop and really just focus on my businesses. And what I really did to now really be in the habit of always wanting to take a hit or two, it was to focus on the things that I would want to bring into fruition. It was to focus on my business and think, okay, wait, if I want to get to point A, I need to do this, that, and the third so that I can get to point Z. Okay, I knew that being high would not really benefit me, because when I take a hit or two, I go straight to sleep. To be honest, I be going straight to sleep sometimes, and that kind of motivated me to stay away from that. When you know that there's a bad habit that you want to let go of, you really have to take accountability for that. And that's also part of unlearning bad habits, actually being able to take accountability, because if you're not able to take accountability, definitely you will fall back into that habit, and you're gonna be like, oh well, here we go again. Accountability is definitely very much a point to be made when it comes to growing into new habits. It was definitely uncomfortable for me to not be, getting my hit or two during the days. At the same time, I grew to be comfortable with it. And on top of that, I spent months just focused on my business, and I was able to progress in a much better way, rather than really smoking it up and sleeping and then missing a day or two and then being behind in the things that I want to do. I grew to be comfortable in that uncomfortableness, to the point it's like I can spend my days without Mary Jane, and that in itself is chef's kiss. Lesson number 8 when it comes to the flow forward approach is unlearning bad habits. It's quite simple. It's still very necessary when it comes to growing out of the things that are holding you back, and growing into the things that you would love to progress in, and basically what you need in life. Because sometimes we can definitely fall into habits that are not necessary, especially when it comes to a way of being too. Yeah, we could definitely fall into a bad habit of self, to the point that it even affects others. Unlearning those habits are very necessary at any point in time in life. I'm going to be listing my block quotes for you guys to really tap into when it comes to affirmations and really reprogramming the mind. It especially helps with unlearning bad habits and unlearning ways of being, keeping that positive mindset, that positive energy. And any kind of links that I would leave in the description box, be sure to check that out. Have a great and awesome day, and I will see you guys in the next flow forward approach. Deuces.